All right, let's get right into it. Have you ever looked at your camera, seen all those dials and buttons, and just stuck it on auto? Yeah, we've all been there. Well, today we're going to change that. We're going to demystify all those settings and unlock the creative control you've been missing.
I mean, look at this thing. It looks like a secret code, doesn't it? All these letters and symbols. But here's my promise to you. By the time we're done here, this isn't going to be confusing at all. You'll know exactly what these do, and more importantly, how to use them to take your photos from meh to wow.
And look, don't get me wrong. Auto mode it's great for what it is. It's simple, you point, you shoot, the camera does the heavy lifting. Super reliable. But the thing is, it's also a creative cage. It's making all the artistic decisions for you. If you really want to start telling your own story with your photos, we got to break out of that box.
So, the big question is, how do we do that? How do we break out of auto without getting completely lost in a sea of settings? Well, the answer is something called priority modes. Seriously, this is your first best step towards taking back control.
Think of these modes like training wheels for your camera. They're perfect. They let you focus on just one creative decision while the camera handles the technical stuff. So, you've got aperture priority, that's where you control how blurry the background is, and the camera sorts out the rest. Then there's shutter priority, where you decide if you want to freeze motion or make it blurry and artistic. The camera does the math for you. It's like having a co-pilot. You get to be the creative director without having to worry about crashing.
Okay, if you have your camera nearby, go ahead and grab it. Look for that main dial, the big one on top. You're looking for an A or AV, that's aperture priority, and an S or TV, that's shutter priority. Finding those little letters? That's you finding your gateway to a whole new level of creativity.
All right, let's kick things off with aperture. This is, hands down, one of my favorite settings to play with because this is the secret sauce. This is how you get that gorgeous, creamy, blurry background that makes your subject just pop.
So what is aperture? It's basically the pupil of your camera's eye. It's an opening inside the lens that can get bigger or smaller. And it does two really important things. First, it controls the amount of light coming in. Second, it controls something called depth of field, which is just a fancy way of saying how much of your picture from front to back is going to be sharp. Now, this is measured in what we call f-stops. And here's the one slightly weird thing you just have to remember. It's kind of backwards. A small number, like f2.8, means a really big opening in the lens. That lets in a ton of light and gives you that beautiful blurry background. Perfect for making a person stand out. A big number, like f22, means a teeny, tiny little opening. That lets in less light, but it makes everything sharp, from the flower at your feet to the mountains in the distance. Awesome for those epic landscape shots. And boom, here's a perfect example. Look at this. On the left, with that low f-stop, the Jenga tower is the star of the show. Everything behind it just melts away into a soft blur. But on the right, with a high f-stop, everything is tack sharp. You can see the tower, the leaves, the trees, everything. It's the same subject, same spot, but a totally different feel. You get to decide what the viewer pays attention to. Okay, so that's aperture. It controls focus and light. Now let's talk about its partner in crime, shutter speed. And if aperture is about what's sharp, shutter speed is all about capturing or creating motion. The easiest way to think about it is like this. There's a little curtain inside your camera, right in front of the sensor. Shutter speed is just how long that curtain stays open to let light in. Is it open for a tiny fraction of a second, like a blink? Or is it open for a few whole seconds? That single choice will completely transform how movement looks in your photo. So here's the deal. If you use a slow shutter speed, leaving that curtain open longer, anything that moves in your frame is going to look blurry and streaky. It's how you get those cool light trails from cars at night. But if you use a super fast shutter speed, that curtain opens and closes in an instant. It literally freezes time. Think a splash of water, a bird in flight, perfectly captured, not a hint of blur. I mean, just look at this. On the left, that slow shutter makes the waterfall look like silk. It's dreamy, it's peaceful. Then on the right, that fast shutter freezes this car in its tracks. You can almost feel the speed, but it's captured in perfect, crisp detail. Two completely different vibes, all from one setting. Let's bring it back to our Jenga blocks. See this? With a slow shutter, the moving hand is just a ghosty blur. It's not about capturing an instant, it's about showing the path of the movement itself. You're capturing time passing. And now, watch this. We crank that shutter speed way up and bam! Same action, but it's frozen solid. Every detail is sharp. It's like you have a superpower. You can literally stop time with the click of a button. Okay, So we've got aperture for our blurry backgrounds, shutter speed for motion. We're feeling good, right? But what do you do when it's just too dark? You've opened your aperture as wide as it can go, you've slowed your shutter speed, and your photo is still too dark. Well, that's where the third part of our trio comes in, ISO. The best way to think of ISO is like a volume knob for light. It's not adding real light, it's digitally amplifying the light that's already there. So, when you're in a dark room and you just can't get a bright enough picture, you can turn up the ISO to rescue the shot.
But there's always a but, isn't there? There's a trade-off. A low ISO, like 100 or 200, gives you a beautiful, clean, super high-quality image. But as you crank that ISO up higher and higher to see in the dark, the camera starts to introduce this stuff called digital noise. Basically, your photo gets all grainy and speckled. It's the price you pay for creating light out of thin air.
Yeah, that graininess, that noise, it's the enemy of a clean shot. So here's the pro tip, the golden rule of photography. Always, always, always keep your ISO as low as you possibly can. Think of it as your tool of last resort when you've run out of all other options.
Okay, I know what some of you are thinking right now. This is all great for a big, fancy camera, but I just have my phone, right? Well, get ready for some seriously good news.
Check this out. On the left, we've got that camera dial. On the right, that's the Pro mode on a smartphone. See the similarities? Shutter speed, ISO, it's all there. The exact same principles, the same creative controls we've been talking about this whole time, they are already in your pocket. It's amazing.
So here's your homework. After this, I want you to grab your phone, open the camera, and swipe around until you find a pro or manual mode. You will find sliders for shutter speed, for ISO, sometimes even for aperture. All that power to blur backgrounds, freeze motion, and shoot in the dark, you have it, right now.
Here's the bottom line. Auto mode takes a picture. It documents a scene. But when you take control of these settings, you're not just taking a picture anymore. You're telling a story. You're the director. You decide what the audience looks at, what feeling they should have. So the only question left is, what story are you going to tell first?